Welcome everybody to Catfish Weekly, along with Pontoon Jodi. I'm Lyle Stokes, and Jodi, thank you for joining us tonight. We needed some help, and there you was.
Well, thank you for offering. I'm glad to be here.
We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about fishing in your boat and some other stuff, and um, there's a whole bunch of people in chat. Maybe they have a few questions for you, but before they get started, I want to go through and acknowledge some of the people in chat, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And if you see that I missed something, just chime on in and help me out. I'm
Okay.
going to start out with John Patrick Jr. and Creole Catfishing, Mark from Catfish and Crappie, Roger from Muskrat Adventures, LG Bass, your partner in crime on Wednesday nights, Bobcat Outdoors, Fishing with the Chad is in chat tonight, Freddie's Outdoor Adventures, which Freddie will be joining me here next Monday night.
Okay.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Joey Stewart, Scott Swift, Takedown Catfishing, Fishing and Freedom. Watched one of his lives over the weekend. He done a really good job. I was quite impressed with him. Actually watched a couple of his videos after that and enjoyed them too. Let's see who else we got. Takedown Catfishing. Avid Fisherman just reached 1,000 subs. Congratulations, Avid. Happy for you. Chris Usselton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I always get mixed up. Let's see who else we got in here. Want to be outdoors? Hey, Matt, how you doing? I'm going to actually build a um, fly rod for Matt, but we're waiting on some of the parts to come in. Everything's either on back order, or it's out in ships, and it's kind of a cluster. But he's going to have a really nice fly rod when we get that thing done. I think you'll enjoy it. Mark Anthony has a package on the way to him. Hopefully, he'll enjoy that. Rustic Outdoors got a message from him the other day. Said he was going to be in chat tonight. Had a couple of questions, so that's really cool. Glad to see he made it back. Um, let's see. You see any I'm missing, Jodi?
I don't know if you said Bobcat Outdoors, um, Fishing with the Chad.
Yep. There's Jersey Catter. We talked about him before. I think he's a new one. Welcome to the chat. Glad to have you on the show with us tonight.
Catfishing with Paws.
Yep. William Warner. Glad to see you in here tonight, William. See, there's my lovely wife, Cindy, has made it.
Hi, Cindy.
John Patrick Jr. I said him right off the bat. 3+1. I don't see Dee or Betty yet. I don't see James Dockery, and I did talk to James today. For those of you that's been calling and asking and sending me messages and stuff, and James is feeling a little bit better. Still under the weather, but keep your thoughts and prayers with him. We want him back on here. He's the most fun I have given crap to, and I need him back 100% so he can give it back. It's not any fun if it's a one-way street. There's Sean Abney, Brian B. Fishing with JBT, one of my favorite guys to watch late at night. I enjoy watching him catching him channel cat. He's been on a carp run here lately, though. Whisker Dreams. All
My
right.
friend Ricky. You got Parker Pursuits. Got Lee Evans Catfish Kentucky Outdoors. Scott Swift. Palmetto Cats.
Hey, Kevin. Fishing with the Squirrel.
J Dog's in the house. I'm fishing the Mid South.
We're glad to have J Dog and Fishing Mid South. There's JP3 Outdoors and Brian Bort's Blue Collar Life. We got to watch a little video of his before this started. I enjoyed it very much.
And fishing with Big Mike, a Tennessee boy.
Sweet. We're welcome to have all you guys in here. It's awesome to have you. There's Dale Hayslip.
My BFF Tara.
You talking about Jason's wife, Tara? She's
Yeah.
such a sweet lady. I don't know how she puts up with him like she does. Jesse Harmon, Luther Harlow, John Boy's Catfishing, Kevin Baker, Nuts and Bolts Fishing.
Tag, you're it.
Joe Buck 66. I think we're about there's Mike Greenwell. I don't want to miss Mike.
Yep. That's a Mike.
We've been talking about fishing together for 2 or 3 years, getting together in the summertime and doing some bumping together, and something always comes up, gets in the way, and we haven't never made it, but we got to get that done. We just have to, because that's something I dearly love to do, and so does he. So we got to make that happen. There is Miss Lizabella Kirkpatrick Thomas, and today is her birthday. Happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Isabella.
I have the notifications you get for when people's birthdays come up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get them in the mornings, and I used to, but for some reason now I either don't get them or it's late in the afternoons or evenings, and they still never popped up for today. But I try to hit them when I see them. But yeah, I noticed that it was her birthday, and there is Josh, the weekend angler,
Yes.
Lance Mccooga, Real Gals Fish. Nice to have you in here tonight.
I seen James Kirkpatrick. So
That's-
hopefully he don't pay me back for the aggravation I gave him last night.
James and Lizabella will be on with Mark at the Catfish and Crappie podcast as soon as we're done here. So that should be a great show.
Dale Hayslip and Danimal.
I didn't see Danimal. Glad you caught him.
Mm-hmm. Uncle Lou.
Pretty Uncle Lou. Is Lee in here? Good to see Lee. Man, the list is long. There's D. Welcome, D. Fishing and Freedom. Man, that's one of my favorite names for all of them.
Yes, it is. It's a good name.
It really is. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I got a message from James Smith today. Actually, a phone call. He called me, and I know that he's going to be watching the show tonight, but he won't be in chat. He's got some things that he's busy with tonight. But we want to tell him hey, and hope everything's going good for him.
I see one of your friends is in here.
Which one is that?
Dieter.
My man Dieter. I talked to Dieter on the phone the other day. Dieter is a friend of mine. We've known each other for a long time.
I've watched him a couple of years now.
You can learn a lot, and he has some great content, and he is very up to speed on regulations and stuff for his area, and I like that. There's David Smith. I seen a message that Chad had put up that David Smith's birthday was either tomorrow, I believe tomorrow, and he wanted to make sure everybody said happy birthday to him. But Chad has to be very careful about that because today is the 6th and his birthday is the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to remember that.
And Hooks and Hammocks just had a birthday.
Yep, he did. Happy birthday, Chris. 3B Fishing has joined us. Mike's Fishing Home. Wow. Man, oh man. Chrissy Brown. Haven't seen Ernie. He might be in bed.
He might.
He gets up early.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier than me.
PX Tiger. Pork Chop.
William Warner.
Mm-hmm.
Man, chat's flying.
Laughing Catfishing, which is Serena's husband.
Thomas, yep, glad to see Thomas in here. Wow.
And actually, another birthday's coming up. Aaron from Catfish Regulators.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is it soon?
It's on the 9th.
Well, that's right after Chad's.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
Because it'll be gone by the time we come back around. Fishing with Robbie, one of my favorite youngsters in the catfishing industry. How you doing, little buddy? I hope everything's going well for you.
Sean Agnew. I've never seen that name before.
Sean and his wife met me at a weigh-in line the first time in Owensboro, Kentucky. We was down there to a big tournament, and they come down there while we was in line away and introduced themselves to me, and we had a great visit then, and they've been friends online ever since. So Glad to see them in here. Moonlight Fishing.
Annette Morgan.
Someone you know?
She's always in the chat.
That's cool. I'm not sure she's been in here before. If she has, I may have missed her. So welcome to chat. We appreciate you coming in here. Holy moly! I'm thinking I'm going to get to the end of this pretty soon.
Your boy Troy's there.
Mike Greenwell's. Mike joined as a new member. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate that very much. Tomorrow, thank you, Mike. David Smith says. Chad will be 40. Chad will be 40. That's right, Freddie. Keep after him, man. Oh, mercy. He kind of, he's kind of like that.
Rustic Outdoors. Jesse Harmon, and the list just keeps going.
It does. They just keep coming. I'm thinking I'm going to get to the bottom of it, but I haven't yet. Well, what do you say we talk about some fishing?
Okay.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about your boat and how you chase flatheads in that?
Okay. I've got a 20-foot pontoon. It's a Sylvan. It's a 2000 model. I was actually going to buy a car, and car got sold before I got there, and I'm like, I really don't need a car. I was actually going to buy a used Corvette. That's what I was going to buy. And it got sold before I got there, and I thought, well, I want a boat. So I went on Facebook, marketplace, and I hunted around till I found that pontoon, and it was in good shape and looked good, so I went and bought it, and I've loved it ever since.
Cool.
It was like a bass buggy. It's got 2 bass seats in the front, 2 bass seats in the back, and it's got the water well underneath, the love seat.
Mm-hmm.
So.
There's a lot of room on pontoon boats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cindy had talked to me about buying one years ago when we was fishing so many tournaments. You just can't pull them all over the United States. I mean, I guess you could, but I'm not going to. And now I'm thinking might re-look that, because they are. If I had one, I would just rent a slip to put it in one of the lakes here that I was going to fish all the time, and you just walk down and get on it and back out and take off, and that'd be the end of it. But in those days, it just wasn't feasible for us. And but there's a ton of room on them, and I'm not as interested in going 60 or 70 mile an hour on the water as I used to be. I mean, it's still fun, but I don't have to do it now. And so, yeah, I can see. Yeah, how big a live well do you have in it?
I've never put a big fish in it. I mean, I put a striper in it one time to take home to somebody, but it's as big as it's half of the seat. So,
wow,
about 3 foot long, maybe.
That's fit a big fish.
Yeah,
that'd fit a big fish. There's Clearview Outdoors has joined us, and I've seen one of your boy Troy's in here now that he wasn't. I'll try to keep up with as many of them as I can. But so, have you ever fished in anything besides a pontoon, Jodi?
I've fished in a bass boat before.
Okay.
And don't really care for it.
Right.
Because, it's not set up for catfishing. You have to hold your poles, and I like the rod holders all around it. I've set mine up with monster rod holders, and I actually don't like going fast.
Right.
So, and of the night, my boat goes 14 miles an hour, and I don't even hit that during the night.
Well, that's probably good because I have done some night travel, and we've had some trouble at night, and we haven't been really back out at night since that night. Alicia wanted to say hello to you tonight.
Hello, Alicia.
Her in chat. There is a lot of people don't realize there's restrictions on speed about everywhere traveling at night. Most people don't realize it, but there's a speed limit on at least in our area, on all the lakes and the rivers. And I don't remember what it is. I think it's 30 mile an hour, but I think it's less than that actually. But for some reason, 30 comes to mind. But we was just like everybody else back in those days. If you could run 60 and you thought you was safe, you'd do it. But we wasn't going very fast one night and got stuck up against a wing dike on the Missouri River and like to never got off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And got turned around. And if it hadn't been for the electronics in the boat, there ain't no telling what would have happened. But it turned all the depth finder transducers straight up.
Mm.
We was in a tournament. It was really cloudy. It was pitch dark. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and we was shoved up against the back of wing dike sideways
Oh, wow.
in a 24-foot boat. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a tough time, but we haven't fished night since then. But Cindy and I used to fish below the dams on the Mississippi River at night, and they're lit up. You can read a
Mm-hmm.
book without having the extra lights. And we caught some great fish doing that below those dams, and had some wonderful times, especially on them 100-degree days when it was 70 or 80 degrees at night down there with a little wind, and the fish was biting. Made for a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. I love the night fish because you don't have the other boats around, and it's peaceful. It's something different from fishing of a night during the day.
Thank you, Matt. We appreciate that so much. Glad to have you in here. But yeah, I love night fishing. But anymore, it's not that I wouldn't go night fishing. I'm pretty sure Cindy would too, but it would have to be someplace we was really familiar with. We was on a strange part of the river that we had never been on before when that happened. Then it got real cloudy, and like I say, it was dark, and we had spotlights, of course. But by the time we figured out what was going on, it was too late. We was already up against it, and with push paddles and poles and stuff to get you off of it. It was kind of tough because with them big motors and them big props, you don't want to stick them in the rocks and tear them all up. It costs too much money. So Jersey Catter says, Jodi, I've never been on a pontoon before. How are they in regards to anchoring on a windy day? Does higher profile of the pontoon boat present any issues than a lower profile boat would have?
Yes, you're constantly. I don't have a lot of current, so I'm always fighting a turn anyway. But the wind, it'll turn you all the way around sometimes. Once it starts, especially if you got the bimini top up, it's like a kite.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I don't go fishing in the wind. That's the first thing I check when I'm going. I don't look for rain. I look for wind.
Well, I know guys and a few people that bought the big Sea Arc 26-footer that are wanting rid of them because of the same thing. The sides are a little bit higher on those. They catch so much wind. They're hard to load, hard to unload. You can't anchor with them and hold them. They're switching back and forth all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And if the wind's blowing sideways and you're trying to drift backwards and back bottom bounce, it's always keeping you up one end of the boat cocked sideways. So there is such a thing as too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the world that will replace room in a boat, but there can be too much of a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I suffer with it all the time.
Right. Jason says, my bite has been bad. If you want some of me and Tara, now would be a good time. We're going to make that happen, Jason, but it's probably going to be in a little bit warmer weather. But I haven't forgot about you. And Tara is so nice. And you're just Jason. So
They both are.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. He's a great friend and a good guy. We're glad to have him as part of the catfishing community. But she is really a nice lady. He had her make some smarty remarks on video and clips and stuff and send them to me. And she actually sent me a message and apologized. Said he made me do it. I got a bang out of that. I thought it was very funny. You're very welcome. I think Jodi will answer about any question you guys have like that if you all have any questions for her, and she's very knowledgeable and can answer them. So if you have any, go ahead and get them out there. Next, how big a motor did you say you had on your boat?
I got a 45 on it right now.
A 45.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes 14 mile an hour.
Yep.
That's that's not all that bad in if you're in skinny water. I don't know how much water you have on the Watts Bar area. I've never been there.
I've got, some big water, but I've got several boat ramps. So wherever I plan at fishing at, that's the boat ramp I go to. I don't have to drive as far. I
I
may
see.
go 3 trips without putting gas in it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's a 12-gallon tank, but about 3 trips I can get.
That wouldn't be so bad because my boat has a 34 or 36 gallon tank in it. When you stop to fill that baby up, you've been stopped.
Yeah,
At $3 a gallon,
definitely.
it's kind of tough.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, I pretty much know where I'm gonna fish at, and then try to pick the closest boat ramp to it.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What
Hmm.
what about your fishing equipment? What do you have for fishing rods and reels and stuff like that?
I got some big cat fevers, and I have the Berkeley big gangs from Walmart. They're like $22. I use those too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the Penn Warfare 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually bought two Abu Garcias. That's
Okay.
in rotation. And then J Dog gave me a pole the other day with the
Well, that's nice of him.
with the Penn Warfare 20 on it.
Them's pretty good reels. I don't have any of the Warfares, but I
Mm-hmm.
do have a Fathom, and I love it dearly.
Yeah.
Abbott said, Jody, what is your best flathead?
42 pounds. Can't
42
get out of
pounds.
the 40s.
That's a giant, though. It really is.
I catch a lot in the 30s, 36, 38, sometimes 32, but I cannot get out of the 42.
I got to tell you, them are great fish. They really are. Chad says, Jody, do you do any tournament fishing or do you just make bets online with people?
Uh, I've done, I really don't like the tournaments because you're pressured. I fish all night. Like I'll get there 6, 7 o'clock of the night. I don't leave till 10 the next day. So I've got all those bite windows I'm fishing.
Oh, wow.
So and tournaments are mostly during the day, and I
Most
don't.
of it.
Yeah, I don't do day fishing, so it's hard for me to do a tournament.
Yeah.
But I've done, I've done Palmettos. I did the women's tournament and the monster hunt.
A
And
lot
then
of the online tournaments, I noticed a lot of them have been at night, though.
yeah, I did that flathead challenge,
Yeah.
but I should have started it earlier because it actually ended, after my flatheads bite went on. I lost my
Hmm.
flathead bite, so I should have started it a month or two earlier.
Well, that's kind of how it works. But
Yeah.
next time you'll do it differently,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's still part of the learning curve. Dieter
Mhm.
Melhorn says Jody fishes Watts Bar. Oh heck, might see her later this month.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Dieter, you should get a hold of Jody and you guys fish a little bit while you're out there. There's Patriot James. We was just talking about you, James. Glad you made it in chat tonight. Hope everything is going well for you this evening. Alicia, that's exactly how I feel when I go through chat trying to call out everybody because I know I miss people. And there's no way that you can get them all when chat's flying and there's 100 people watching. And uh, they just have to understand that you're going to miss one once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like Gene Tillman has joined us and Air Run has joined us. That's just yeah, that's kind of the way it works. But yeah, that would be great if you and Dieter could get together and of course he's going to want to do video and that'd be okay.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of trying to charter with him next year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure he would do that. That'd give you guys a chance to talk about that uh,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, Dieter does a lot of that now. But I know he's been working regular. There's Chunky Cats Fishing. Elstan, welcome. Kevin with Palmetto Cats is in here. Man, that is just flying. Max the Mad Catter, welcome.
Michelle, it's all mine.
Do what? Oh yeah, is that her name,
Yeah.
Michelle?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Mark Anthony says that would be awesome. Pontoon Jodi and Dieter collab. I think it would be too. That'd be worth watching. Big Bill's veteran catfishing. Thumbs up, people, for a great show. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it so much. Man, I miss if this thing stops running for a minute. Like I stopped to say hello to Chunky, and I got to scroll down. It's just flying by so fast. That's outstanding.
That's
But
Rob from 2 Vets and Fishing with Steve Mosley.
both great guys.
Mhm.
Both Rob does a lot of videos that are not catfishing, and I get a chance to watch a lot of these once in a while. But I know he's got one out today that I haven't got a chance to see because I've been busy doing other things. I also see Mike Urban has joined us, and I don't want to miss Mike because he's in a lot of streams. And Keith Smart, Mo Creek Fishing, Chunky Morgan. I get Rob's been. Of course, he doesn't send me pictures. He sends Dockery pictures and Chad pictures and Mark pictures, but he doesn't send me any pictures. He's been catching some giant crappie, and I've been hearing about it, but not from Rob. I've been hearing about it from everybody else. So uh, I hope he has to buy a bunch of stuff to tie up some new jigs with and spend a bunch of money because he didn't send me pictures of them fish. So that would serve him right because I do hear a little bit about that from time to time that it's my fault that he does that. That's not true.
You see Avid in there, right?
I did see Evan in there.
What happened to Avid, don't you?
He reached 1,000 subs today.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. That's a milestone. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Chad made it here a while back. Abbott's got it today. Somebody else, I think, over the weekend got it.
John Parker got it last night.
That was who it was. Yeah, John Parker. Yeah, so that's really good that John and his wife made it, Dana. So it's a milestone. It helps you get acknowledged more. Most people think that it's about monetization, and it never was about monetization for me because unless you got a boatload of subscribers, and I mean a lot more than 1,000,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really get any money to speak of off of YouTube. The reaching 1,000 subscribers and anything more than that starts putting your name a little closer to the top of the pages when people are searching for stuff, and that's more important than the few dollars that you get off of that because that way people can find you easier. And when people are searching for catfish related stuff, your name will pop up there a little sooner, and it's easier for them to get to you. So it's just you just need to get there if you can. But yeah, 1,000 subscribers, that's awesome.
Congratulations, David and John and Dana.
Heck yeah, that's really, way cool. And there'll be some more coming up. I noticed. I watched um, Parker Pursuits and the Weekend Angler. Thank you, Freddie. Thank you so much. Um, I watched those guys Saturday, I believe it was. They was on a wing dike on the Mississippi River. Um, Parker is getting pretty close to 1,000 too. So people need to go over to his channel, Parker Pursuits, and
Mm-hmm.
help Jerry out a little bit. Give him a like and subscribe. And remember, when you do that, to make a comment and watch part of the video because it won't stick a lot of times if you don't do that. And I'm not sure why that is. It didn't used to be that way, but it is anymore. So you got to. It's like playing a game with YouTube, I guess. Justin's fishing fetish has arrived. We're
Justin.
so glad to have him in here.
Mm-hmm.
Have you met Justin and his daughter?
No, I've seen him on some lives, but
Oh, you will enjoy it so much when you do. He's a great guy, and Aunt is a great little girl. She is just awesome, and a fishing machine. She just loves to fish. So great folks. We met them at Catfish Conference in Louisville a few years ago, but I had the pleasure of visiting with Justin a little bit out the Patriot James tournament, which is coming up, and I would say James will be having more information about that pretty quick because I know he's starting to get some questions about that. But anybody that gets a chance needs to make sure to go out there and fish that tournament this year because it's going to be a lot of fun. I just seen somebody new, Gray Bird Ford. Welcome to chat. I don't believe I've seen your name in there before, so we're glad to have you. Thanks so much for joining us. And something else I seen went flying by, but it is flying by. So
Yeah, it's definitely going. Uh,
Brian B must have made it in there. I see some people are saying hello to him. I need to get a hold of you, Brian, and I got a question I need to ask you. So be looking for an email from me before long. Dieter says I'm blocking off that weekends just so I can fish James's tournament. Good idea, Dieter. I'm
yeah.
glad to see that. We haven't made plans of whether we're coming back out there or not, but if I come back out there, Dieter, if I drive all the way back out there and I only get to spend an hour with you like I did this time, it's not going to be right. Thank you, Joy. Thank you so much. We're going to have to put the boat in the water and go for a swim or fish or just go out and sit in the boat and talk or something.
Uh,
Oh, man. 3+1 is almost to 1,000. Be sure to check them out. That is exactly right. Thank you for letting us know that. What was this? Let's get Dieter Melhorn to 1,000. I think Dieter probably is about there. Uh, Kevin with Palmetto says April 16th. Kevin is on it tonight. He's got that figured out. I'm glad because I didn't know what exactly the date was, but April 16th. And I know that James had talked about he's going to be moving it to a different boat ramp, and he wants to make it a really, really good event. And it was last year. We didn't fish, Jody. We drove all the way out there just to help him do his tournament, and we absolutely had a ball. So, but I can't go back out there twice and not take a boat and fish. I just can't do it. And it's a long way, but it was a lot of fun. Valerie Irwin is in here tonight.
I've been thinking about it. I had somebody ask me to fish it with them, so I just don't know exactly how far away it is. The only thing bothers me about pulling my boat is a single axle.
Yeah, that's a long way to. That's a long way. Mine's a single axle too, but it's not a pontoon.
Yeah.
But we've pulled it everywhere. Dieter says I'm going to do a better job of keeping palmetto cats from running around while I watch. uh, Rob's, look, I got the wrong one. Rob says, I sure hope not the ramp that has all the issues with the ramp, hogs, and wind. I don't know, Rob, which one it is, but he'll get it figured out where it's a good ramp and everybody will be happy with it and have lots of parking. Uh, it'll be fun. Robbie was fishing with Kevin. Little Robbie was fishing with Kevin last year, and we got to meet his grandmother who was sitting in her car reading a book. Nobody actually knew what was going on, and finally I asked her, and she told us that she was Robbie's grandmother. So we invited her to sit over, and she sat there with David Martin and Big Nasty and myself and several others that was up there through the day. Laura was there and Cindy and a whole bunch of people and visited with us while Robbie's with Kevin fishing. It was a great event.
Yeah. I seen Lisa in here. She married Aaron. Lisa Lee.
Is I didn't see her in here. Is she still Lisa Lee?
Today she's doing as Catfish regulator, Miss Catfish regulator.
Okay, yeah, I thought something had changed, but I couldn't remember what it was. So,
and then Lisa Elliott, she goes by that too now.
Okay, good. Well, congratulations, you guys.
Mm-hmm. And then Mike Sampson, he fishes the same waters I do.
Mike Sampson does?
Yeah.
And Mike is a really good guy. There's Alan Brashaw has joined us. Creo says he can't wait to put that big barge on Wiley.
Yeah.
I guess, from what I understand, Jeremy is going all the way from Texas out to fish Wiley in April. So that's going to be a haul for him, but it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Good question, Parker Pursuits. Jody, which end of Watch Bar do you fish in the winter?
I fish, basically I fish the same areas. I can't go as far back up on the rivers as I go, though. Like I fished Clinch River and I fished Emory River, but Emory River's kind of shut down for me because I can't get my boat through there. I have to go farther on down to close to Caney Creek, heading on down towards Tennessee River to put in now. So I had to motor back up.
Oh, wow.
So I have to worry about getting landlocked too. Sometimes it'll be like 2 foot deep, and I'm not going to get landlocked.
No, that's never good.
Yeah, so that eliminates a lot of my flathead holes during the winter anyway.
Now, does your water get cold enough that the flatheads go dormant in the wintertime, or does the water stay warm enough where they can still swim around? And
It's 50 right now, the water temperature.
okay, so it does get colder.
Yeah, it'll drop quite a bit more. But
Yeah.
Where I'm at, I have places I go. I target flatheads. I'm like a flathead hunter. That's what I want to catch, and that's where I go. But during the winter, I have to go for the blues.
Right.
But the flatheads are everywhere, though, where I'm at.
That's awesome because they're not everywhere where I'm at.
Yeah, I can be fishing for a blue and catch a flathead.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I would never complain about that. Yeah. I see that Mark from Catfish and Crappie has put up Jeremy Coven's YouTube link. It's awesome. Go over there and check out his videos and stuff. But just remember that Jeremy has been in the hospital. He is out now and home with complications from COVID. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers. We want to get him back out on the water, catching those fish as quickly as we can. I think he had a pretty rough go with that COVID stuff, and I don't understand how that works. I know some people get over it real easy, and the next person that you think is healthy as a horse does not. So it's very strange. Dieter says those Emery River flatheads still got coal ash in them.
You don't eat those.
I would say that's probably right.
You don't eat anything comes around from the steam plant, but that's basically I fish around the steam plant.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. We don't have any of that, but I used to fish the Mississippi River a lot, and if there's anything along the banks of the Mississippi River, it gets dumped into that river somewhere along the line. So I give up worrying about that years ago. If I want to eat a fish, I just grab it and eat it. And if I don't want to, I don't have to. But I think probably, now this is just my personal opinion. It doesn't amount to nothing to anybody but me. But I think the lakes are probably a safer place to get your eating fish than any of the big rivers.
If I want to keep a fish, I go up above the steam plant.
The steam plant.
Yeah, I know fish swim and go wherever, but I go pretty far up above if I want to mess the fish.
Well, they filter just like anything else, though. I mean, they have ways of filtering out I don't know how long it takes to filter out the toxins, however.
Yeah.
And I assume that biologists and stuff like that have got all that figured out. I do not. But like I say, if I want to eat one, I'll eat one. The thing that they've always told me was, I always believe that the smaller fish are better eaten. Just like any animal, you don't let a bull get to be 2,000 pounds before you butcher them. You get them when they're small. And I believe fish to be the same way. And they haven't been in the water. When you're talking about 3, 4, 5 pound fish, those haven't been in the water for 30 years absorbing all those toxins and things they're not supposed to get that are bad for you. They've only been in there a year and a half, 2 years, so they can't have as much of it in their system. Those are the fish you want to eat. That's my opinion.
I've only had one flathead I've kept and ate because it swallowed the hook and it was bleeding. It's going to die anyway.
Right. Yeah, you got to harvest that fish.
It was the best tasting of anyone I've eaten, though.
Flatheads are the best.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, and I've never hid the fact, back in the old days when I was a kid and things was different, people didn't know about CPR and saving the fish. We always harvested a lot of bigger fish. And it doesn't matter with a flathead, whether it's a big one or a little one. I probably should not say this online, but flatheads are great eating fish. They are the best of all of them. But I just can't kill a big flathead. I just can't do it. In fact, I can't remember the last time I had a flathead. It must have been 25 years ago. I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't kill the big blues or the big channel cats either. We go all the way to Mendota and catch those giant channel cat
Mm-hmm.
up there, and we return every one of them to the water. That's how come they have such a great fishery, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll continue to go up there and catch those. But like I say, everything that we catch is never. I can't. I just don't anything 10 pounds. That's just too big to wallow around. I like them 3, 4, 5 pounds.
Yeah.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate that so very much.
Mm-hmm. Philip Williams. I see him in chat.
Glad to see him in here.
Yeah.
Mike Chavez, really glad to see Mike in here. If I don't see some of these guys like Mike Chavez that's been in chat for years and years and years, I wonder about them, if they're okay or something's happened. I know his work schedule is
Mm-hmm.
kind of strange, but I'm so used to seeing Mike in here, and I was starting to think, well, what's going on? And then you look down there and you see Art from the 1 Ton Catfish Club. And
Hey, Art.
absolutely, 1 ton for life.
I met him and Josh when I was fishing the dock. They're
I
pretty
met
cool.
him. I met him out at James's tournament. Also, um, I got to tell you, they were big guys, but I could show them how to eat. We was at a couple smorgasbords while we was out there, and I thought, man, if that's all they eat, they ain't even got no game. But they are a hoot to be around. They are a blast. Lots of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Smart says, back in the early 90s, I ate a 56.5 pound flathead. It was good, but soaked it in salt water for 3 or 4 days. Wow. Had never done that. I mean, I put them in salt water, but I don't leave them in there that long. I missed something that Art said because Kevin says, them are fighting words, Art.
Oh,
That you're right about that, Mark. I do love my shrimp. Josh says, Catfish Weekly, we should challenge the 1 tonners to a shrimp eating competition. Josh, make it happen. Make it happen. I'm in on that. I love my shrimp. I really do.
earlier, Creel said flatheads are the ribeye of the river.
That's a very true statement. They really are. Like I say, I just years ago I just got to where I wouldn't kill them. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Now, if you get one that's deep hooked, like you was talking about, it's way better to harvest that fish than to let it die and go to waste. I would never do that. But they're such beautiful fish, and they're the hardest fighters of all, and they're so much fun to catch. The colors on flatheads, and they vary depending on water conditions and sunlight and a lot of variables. But the colors on them are just so beautiful, and you get the ones that Creole, he calls them Appaloosas, and some of them actually look like that. They're spotted up. Others are really dark green, almost black. Others are yellow,
Mm-hmm.
and I call it baby crap yellow, but they're all gorgeous fish. And man, they stay on the bottom. They fight really hard, and
Mine are mostly the green camo digital pattern. Mine
mhm.
look like that.
I like that.
Yeah, they're real pretty.
Yep. Well, come on now. Max the Mad Kidder says, I personally eat between 10 and 15 pound fish, feeds my entire 4-person family, where I'd have to kill 10 smaller ones. That makes sense
Mm-hmm.
to equal that. And I can't get myself to do the feel bad enough killing cats. I understand, and if you can get one and do an entire meal, that makes all the sense in the world to me. For me, it's just Cindy and I most of the time.
Yeah.
And I went 12 or 13 years without cleaning the fish. Not that I couldn't clean them.
Yeah.
I just don't like to do it. I don't like to do it. But we get back going again this year. We're probably going to keep some more because I love to eat them. But I'm Lake Ozark and Truman is so full of blue cats. that the conservation department actually increased the limit of small fish that you can keep on those bodies of water.
Mhm.
You can keep up to 10 of those under 26 inches. So um, they want you to harvest those smaller ones. It's overpopulated,
Yeah.
blue cats. So you're welcome to get them. So I'm thinking now's a good time as any to get a few and do some eating.
I usually keep a 10 pounder when I keep one.
That's a good size.
Usually two of them is what I get. I get one to eat that day and then one to put up.
Art from the One Ton Fishing Club, Lyle insulted the One Ton Fishing Club can't eat. Insinuated. I'm sorry. Well, they can, but I think Josh and I can take them. I really do.
Mhm.
Air Run says, I call them camel cats here in Oklahoma.
Mhm.
That sounds right. TWA, y'all couldn't stand a chance and they wouldn't have enough shrimp.
Now,
We had, we would, Jody,
that shrimp eating contest.
oh, we need to do that. I'm in for it. I promise you that. We was in out there, and when we met them at a restaurant, the first place that we met them in a restaurant was at a Chinese buffet. I
Hmm.
really think that we hurt that place bad that night. I really there was Kevin was out there and the One Ton guys and Cindy and I and Chad and Dee and two girls, their daughter and another little girl with them, and I don't remember who all else was there. There were several of us there, and we done some damage on that on that all you can eat. Yeah, they knew we'd been there, but I hadn't eaten 2 or 3 days the time we got out there, so I was ready to go. There's Danny Stone outdoors.
Hey, Danny.
Annetta Morgan. Did we talk about her a while
Yeah.
ago?
Annette, yeah.
Yep. Matt says, Lyle, I need to get up to Lake the Ozarks now that the boats are limited. Matt, now's a great time throughout the rest of the winter to go to Lake Ozarks and catch fish because there always is big boats on Lake Ozark, but there's not as many in the cold weather as there is in the spring, summer, fall. A lot of those guys have already got them put up on lifts and stuff, or removed them from the water. People forget that Lake Ozark is the number one tourist lake in the entire United States, and it's got the most boat docks per square foot of any lake in the United States, which is good if you're crappie and bluegill fishing,
Mhm.
even catfishing, because they like to get underneath that in the shade too. But there's so many of those big boats when the weather's hot. And if you don't have a pretty good sized boat or a very stable boat, they'll put you up on the bank pretty quick. But um, it's a great lake to catch fish, and there's plenty of fish in there. And now's a great time to be fishing. We haven't been up there for quite some time, or since spring, but we'll probably be making the trip up there. It's not a lot difference. So any one of the lakes around here is about the same distance for us. Let's see,
That's
Mr.
good.
Whiskers.
Lance Mccooga. I find his videos so interesting. He fishes for stuff other than catfish too,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to see that and the different techniques he has and the different rigs he uses.
I like that too, and he does do some different rigs and different techniques, and some of that has to do with the fact that he's from Hawaii and they just do things different out there, and he's incorporated it into inshore fishing, so that works out really well.
Yeah.
Anything that you can do to make yourself more successful, and guys like Lance that share it with the rest of us, that's
Mhm.
just a home run.
Yeah,
It really is.
that's the kicker. He wants to share and help everybody else.
You know, that's what Catfish Weekly started out being. We was trying to share stuff and help people catch more fish,
Hmm.
and we done that for a long time. And Doc was one of the great ones about that, with his tips and different things. And they wasn't all related uh, to fishing, but a lot of them had like boat tips and trailer tips and things like that. So it really worked out. But um, anytime that you can help somebody be more successful, you've hit a home run. See,
Hmm.
Dieter's on me about something. just messed up. Was making cornbread and put a cup of milk in the mix instead of half of a cup. I'm blaming Catfish Weekly for the cornbread soup. You just go ahead and do that, Dieter. I can take it.
Mm-hmm. Just make you a double batch.
That's right. Pour some more in there and you'll have some for tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that boy, years the way he's growing, he can eat a couple extras. Man, that boy has really grown in the last year. Jody, that's one of the things that James Smith and I used to talk about. We've been doing this long enough now that we've seen a lot of these people that follow us in chat and throughout what we do. We've watched their kids grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been pretty interesting. And when you're in there a few years, you'll see the little guys as they come in and their parents start introducing them. Then the next thing you know, they're driving boats and got their own stuff. And it makes for a really interesting thing to talk about later on. It really does.
I've
We've
done that
enjoyed.
too. I've
Pardon
coached
me?
a few sports, and my kids is in sports, and I help coach some, and I've seen that where they grow up, and then their kids is playing sports, and I'm like, time has just flown by.
It has. It really has. And it's hard to believe, but that's just the way it works. And um, a lot of these kids now are like Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how old Grayson is, but hell, he's bigger than I am. He's not as heavy duty as I am, but he's he's tall as I am or taller, and he helps Dieter do them videos, and he does a bang up job. He's a great young man, but so many of them are, and him and Robbie and guys like that, and even the girls. There's a lot of those. They are the people that's going to be the future Pontoon Jodi and the future Catfish Weekly host and things like that. And there's for sure a lot worse things these kids can do than be out fishing.
Exactly.
If we could turn all these ones that are watching some of this stuff that's on TV these days, if we could turn them into fishermen, I believe the world would be a far better place.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina Catfish, welcome.
That is Jose, I think.
Oh, cool. There's so many people, Jodi, that's come into our community in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I have not been able to keep up with their names, and I know their screen names, but a lot of them hasn't said, well, I'm this or that, or sent me a message or whatever. So I haven't been able to keep up with some of them, but we're glad to have them all in chat. It just makes things wonderful. And if you guys haven't checked out the post that has been made in Catfish Weekly's community tab and Panfish Weekly Nations community tab, we're going to be giving away some mugs right the week before Christmas. So you need to be a member of join to be a member to get in on that. But we're going to give some away and hope everybody enjoys those. We got a bunch of stuff planned for next year. We're going to start a couple of new deals, and we're just going to have a lot of fun. So that's where we're going to be. What have you got planned for the future, Jodi?
This month I'm gonna hit the bank. I entered that Has Bank tournament.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get with some people from Knoxville that's wanting to fish and have them come fish with me down in Kingston and some areas like that, and we'll just have a good time. We'll probably go live if we got service.
That'll be great.
Catfishing with Cause, she's one of them.
Cool.
So,
I know Doc used to talk about the Kingston area a lot. That's I thought when he retired, he had always talked about moving to the Kingston area, and he wanted to fish that river, but he ended up going to Alabama instead. But he always talked about that being his favorite part of the Tennessee River.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yeah, well, I bet. Yeah. Well, Doc's a flathead guy, and you and him ever got together, you would have some stuff to talk about, because I don't know anybody that catches any more flatheads over a period of a lot of years that I've known him, any more flatheads than Doc has caught. I mean, he put me on a good one down in Mississippi, in Memphis one year.
Mm-hmm.
So we was in a tournament down there. hadn't really done any good. And he'd pull up to a spot, said, "Here, we'll cast right here," and I did. He did actually. I caught it on his rod, but I was sitting right there. I mean, that's the way it works in tournaments. But it was a great fish. Never forget that. But we always had a lot of fun. Roger says he's ready to move to Rogersville. You can have it. I may never go back down there. I don't like that place. I don't like anything about it really, but there's a lot better places to fish. If you ever been to the Mississippi River and had any success, you'd never go back down there. It's just that much better. Yeah. It's just the way it is. But a lot of people can't take the current, and that's the difference. Yeah. Mississippi's the current is so strong, but that's where the fish are at.
Thank you, Ricky. Whisker Dreams.
Whisker Dreams. I'm missing something.
He said I was doing a great job.
You are, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you joined me tonight, Jodi, because, we talked about this, a month ago, something, a long time ago. And I had a whole bunch of people when James decided he wasn't going. I got a bunch of messages, and I was trying to get people in there. And I had people in mind that I wanted to do some stuff with, and this was one of them. So I was thrilled that you would do this. Kevin says, I can't imagine a pontoon would be good on the Mississippi. Kevin, you'd be surprised. I feel the same way in a lot of instances, but you can go down on the Missouri or the Mississippi, either one, almost any day of the year that it's boatable, when it's not too bitterly cold or too ungodly hot. And there'll always be a bunch of pontoons on it. But usually they got pretty good sized motors. Another thing that there's a lot of that surprised me are deck boats. There's a lot of deck boats down there too. So, and now I'm talking about above St. Louis, because once you get from St. Louis down, there's no dams, and that's when it starts really getting wild and woolly. But if you're in between some of the dams from the St. Louis area up, it doesn't get as bad. And there's a lot of pontoons, deck boats, and things like that. So, yeah, works out really good. Current helps a pontoon fight wind. That makes sense, Roger. I never thought about that, but it does.
That's my problem. My current ends like at 10 o'clock of the night.
Your current does?
Yeah, because they start cutting the dams off.
Oh, I see. They're not using as much electricity?
Yeah, about 9 o'clock, some of the dams start cutting off. Wow. It takes about that long for it to trickle on down to me, and I'm sitting in slack water then.
And that's no good. They like current.
I know.
I love current too. I love to fish current.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the reasons why I always wanted to fish. If I had a tournament that was the same day for the same amount of money, if one of them was on a river and one of them was on a lake, I'd go to the river because I wanted the current. And now it's not so much that much of a difference, but I do like the fish just love current. They do.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that's been out in it a long time, they're looking for a rest. They'll go find a break where they go rest for a little bit, and you can hammer them. So a lot of ways to fish rivers. We'll talk about that another time. Jodi, thank you so much for joining me on Catfish Weekly tonight. I appreciate it. We've had a great group of people in chat tonight, and we want to thank all of them for coming in here. I want to make sure that we get off in time because Mark has Lizabella and James on tonight, and they're going to have a great show. I really enjoy the show they're doing with the game show thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've watched that, but I watched it the last 2 weeks, and those guys are doing a great job with that. So it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Roger says, spent 3 days fishing Memphis. Current was a change of pace, but bumping all day, if fun. Yeah, it is. It's a ton. Mm-hmm. Dieter Melhorn says, great show. Thank you so much, Dieter. That's always encouragement coming from you. I appreciate it so much. Yep, had a great turnout tonight. Thank you, David. Want to thank everybody for joining us. Be sure to tune in to Jodi and LG Bass Wednesday night at 9. Is that right?
It's 10 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, 9 Central. God's time.
Yeah, Brad Cottle will be on it this week.
That'd be a great guest. Brad's a super nice guy, does a lot of great things for our sports, so you want to be sure to tune in on that. Fishing with the Chad will be live on Thursday night, followed by Panfish Nation, and we'll be back here. I can't remember all the rest of you guys. There's just too many of you anymore. But watch as many of the shows you can. Where else besides YouTube can you watch a fishing related show, a catfishing related show, every night of the week? You don't find that on TV. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.